जय हिंद दोस्तों, मैं हूं मेजर मोहम्मद अली शाह और आज मेरा बहुत बड़ा सौभाग्य है। आई फील ट्रूली ऑनर्ड, ब्लेस्ड और बहुत बड़ी बात है मेरे लिए। इट्स अ प्रिविलेज टू बी इन कॉन्वर्सेशन विद वन ऑफ द मोस्ट illustrious generals of the Indian Army. Yes, General M.M. Naravane, who has been the 27th Chief of the Army Staff and the 40th Vice Chief of the Army Staff. Well, he was the 40th Vice Chief of the Army Staff. He was announced as the Chief of the Army Staff on 16 December 2019 on the eve of Vijay Divas. You all know that. And he took over from General Bipin Rawat on 1st January 2020. 2020. And yes, of course, he's a third Chief of the Army Staff from the Sikh Light Infantry. In fact, the first being General V.P. Malik in 1999 when the Kargil War was fought. General Malik was the chief. Then second from the Sikh Light Infantry was General Bikram Singh, who was incidentally also my GOC in 10 Div in Akhnur when I served there with him. And of course, we had General Naravane, very fine, very illustrious officer. His father was in the Air Force. His mother worked for the All India Radio. Well, let's talk further on about General Naravane. You all have seen him on television. You all have really highly respected General Naravane. And now let's get to know a bit more aspects which perhaps you all would not have heard or seen of General Naravane. Sir, Jai Hind, and thank you very much for spending time for us, sir.
Jai Hind, and thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to our conversation. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Sir, tell us a bit about your childhood, sir. About your growing up years, and was it your father being from the forces fraternity that you decided that was he the influential factor that you decided to join the army or the academy thereafter, sir?
Well, I think my childhood was as for any other children of that time. There was nothing very special about it. In those days, there was there was hardly any. There was no TV. In fact, there was no smartphones. There was no internet. So there was a lot of emphasis on outdoor activities. So I remember that as a child, we had to go out at 4 o'clock in the evening, and we had to be back home by 7. 4 to 7, you had to be out of the house. And out of the house, whether it is playing cricket or hockey or football or even just climbing trees, but you had to be doing some outdoor activity. And there's hardly any day that we did not come back with some scrapes or bruises somewhere or the other on our body. So I think that outdoor spirit has always been there to be doing things, in the field, so to say. But yes, that apart, my father was in the Air Force and used to be staying in Dhalakua, which of course has officers from all three services there. So my friends their fathers were also in the army, the navy too. So we had a sort of inter-service childhood. And yes, that did motivate many of us to join the armed forces. And one of the reasons perhaps that I joined the NDA.
Sir, so tell us about, sir, your first day in academy, because life as a Fauji brat and life as a cadet is very, very different when you join. Reality hits you there, sir. So I'm sure a lot of people would want to know, how was the former chief's first day at the National Defence Academy, sir?
I don't think my first day was any different from the hundreds and thousands of people who have passed out through the academy. I think the greatest part is that our experiences are almost more or less the same. On the first day, the awe we felt when we entered the portals of the NDA, and when we reached our respective squadrons, the ragda which was there, the tough life, both the outdoor part as well as the academics. So all told, I think the experience was at par with all that others have also experienced. But there is no doubt that the National Defence Academy is a one-of-a-kind institution. And whoever passes through that is a different person altogether. We take in children and we make them into men.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So, were you one of the youngest in your course when you had joined the academy as a young cadet? You must be about 16 years old, perhaps, that time, sir?
I wasn't the youngest. There was another fellow who was the youngest. But yes, amongst the youngest, since I'm April born and the course starts in July. So theoretically, even if you're born on 30th of June, you can still be uh, eligible to join the July course. But yes, I was towards the younger side, but not the youngest.
Sir. So, since I'm in conversation with you, I would like to share with you. I mean, which you, I'm sure you would be able to, and many of the 40 would be able to relate to this. When we joined the academy, sir, and we have certain cadets who are doing extremely well, and which we term as demo type, and who are very very young. So we say, oh, and I joined through OTA, sir, the Short Service Commission. So for us, it was for 5 years, and then we would have a choice thereafter. People would we would already start predicting in academy that ओ ये बड़ा अच्छा है फिजिकल्स में बड़ा अच्छा है पढ़ाई में ये बड़ा अच्छा है और बहुत यंग भी है इसके पास उम्र भी है एज भी है on the side if he stays on he would probably become the chief we would just joke around like that it was there any
Yeah.
such moment like that with you as well in academy sir
No, I don't think so. I was what they call in the academy OC, ordinary cadet, who never became any appointment ever. So, what actually that shows is that you have to continue and do, persevere and work with dedication throughout your service. It is not a flash in the pan that you're extremely doing extremely well in the academy or you do extremely well in your bios course and that's it. You can't rest on your laurels. You have to continue working day in and day out, not for the hope of any reward, but because it is your duty to do that job. And if some reward comes your way, that is just incidental. But you should work for the satisfaction of doing a job well done, and not really for any better prospects or rank or promotion or monetary benefit or anything like that. I think that should be the outlook.
very well said by you sir so when you got commissioned and when one star that time second lieutenant was pipped on your shoulders and in fact I presume your parents must have done the pipping ceremony sir so when the first salute which you gave to your father. How was the feeling from both ends, your end and your father's end at that time?
Yes, of course, my parents had come for the graduation ceremony at IMA Dehradun, and uh, they had pipped me as is the traditional way. And I think my father was probably the proudest person on earth, and my mother too, but my father even more so, that had been commissioned into the army. Fact which is not very well known, though I have mentioned it at a number of other occasions, that my father was originally an army cadet
Okay.
and he had been in the IMA, but unfortunately he broke his knee while playing football and had to be withdrawn. So to see me following in his footsteps and passing out and getting commissioned from the same academy where he too had been a gentleman cadet was definitely a very emotional moment for him.
Can very well imagine, sir. Sir, tell us about your first day upon, after you join your Paltan. So normally they play a prank on every young officer who comes. Either they will hide his I card, they will take it away at the RP gate, they'll lock him up in the quarter guard and such things. So how was it for you, sir, when you had joined the Paltan? Of course, and this is like I'm talking about decades over 4 decades earlier. And that time, no one could even predict that if you, as you mentioned, sir, that you would be one fine day, you would be the chief of the army staff. So how was it for the first day as an officer for General Naravane, sir?
Well, when I joined my battalion, we were in field in Sikkim. Sikkim those days was quite a tough area. I don't think the battalion had time to play pranks. But I do remember that I'm from Maharashtra. I did not know a word of Punjabi. And of course, when I joined the unit, there was a lot of miscommunication and many occasions of hilarity. and that was the time soon after we were due to move out, and the handing takeover used to happen, and the advance party had gone, so many officers were had already moved out. So right from the time you were second lieutenant, you were also the officiating company commander, and had to do all the handing taking over too. And I remember my senior JSU used to come and say something, something, something in Punjabi, and I used to say, "Theek hai saab." And I don't know what he asked me, neither do I know what I gave the okay for. But apparently, everything was good because ours was the first company to finish the handing over. So I guess both of us did something right.
Sir, you've had a very illustrious tenure. I mean, 40 decades in 4 decades, 40 years, 42 years, in fact, I would say. Sir, you would be having various memories of various postings, so many places. I mean, but yes, I know it's a very difficult question to actually pinpoint couple of memories or one or two odd memories out of the entire service experience that you've had, sir. But anything particular that comes to your mind, sir, in these 42 years?
Well, as you said, each posting, each tenure, each area has its own charm. Some are hard fields, some are good peace stations. But I think at the end of the day, and I feel it is true for most of us, I think the tenure that you cherish and remember the most is your command tenure. Your tenure as the commanding officer of wherever, whether it's an infantry battalion or a armored regiment. And in my case also, the tenure I remember the most and I get the most satisfaction also from is when I was the CEO of 2 Rashtra Rifles Battalion in the valley. Uh, and when we get together and talk amongst ourselves, the officers I got to command at that point of time, uh, that is the tenure I cherish the most. But in that, there is one more positive fallout in the tenure, especially of commanding a Rashtra Rifles Battalion, because the RR Battalion is a mix of two main components, that is, one infantry battalion from one regiment, uh, two companies worth from some other fighting arm, whether armored or RT or engineers or so on and so forth. And then you also have AC people, EME people, signalers, engineers. So in a way, it was little bit of a mini army. And even when I took taken over 2RR, I had told them that I'm not CO 7 Sikhalai, which is my parent battalion. And I'm not here as rep of Sikhalai. I'm here as CO 2RR. And each of you is as important to me as anyone else. And that is a point which I made in my first talk to all the officers in Army headquarters after taking over as chief. That I'm not chief of 7 Sikhalai, I'm not chief of infantry, I'm chief of the Indian Army. And each arm and service which forms part of the Indian Army are equally dear to me. And that lesson I learned from the time I was CEO of the battalion.
Absolutely, sir. Sir, this is like really, sir. Speaking on on 7 C class, sir, one of my course-mates he was commissioned in 7 C class, sir. Um, Colonel Captain Akshat Bhardwaj. In fact, he had the honor of meeting you when you went to the Middle East, to Dubai. He spent some time with you, and of course, it was, and he couldn't stop talking about you. He was really, really
Yes.
praising you very, very highly, sir. In fact,
I remember
one of,
he had come and met me in the hotel where we were staying. I remember him.
sir,
Yeah,
sir. So actually, they're very old friends. A tall giant, 6 feet.
correct.
I don't know,
Yeah.
6 feet 5 inches, or probably more, perhaps.
I do remember he had come. Yeah.
Sure, sure. And one of my course-mates' father also, sir, Colonel Major Gaurav Kapoor. In fact, his father also is from your Paltan, sir. And sir, tell us which is, if it again a difficult question, which would be a general told me that the best time of my entire service was when I commanded my battalion. It was better than even commanding a corps or commanding a command, for the matter. So I would like to know from the former chief, so which would you consider to be the better tenure, a commanding officer or the chief, in terms of command, sir?
I think I just answered that in the previous question that uh, the command tenure of your battalion or regiment is, I think, the defining moment of your career, and nothing really surpasses that. And that is also the last time that you're actually commanding troops. Thereafter, you go more into the operational arena, in the directional, directive sphere. But actually, being with the men, doing everything with them, that is the tenure as the CO, and no doubt that that is the best tenure.
Sir, sir. Sir, once again, sir, just tell us about your command in the valley of commanding an RR battalion. Of course, you came from a Sikh Paltan and now you were in the midst of insurgency. You had previous experience of serving in the valley in the northeast as well. But now here, it was on the peak of insurgency, sir. It, and obviously it wasn't easy. I mean, there was, you got a lot of success, but then at the same time, the father of the regiment, the commanding officer, has to be prepared for certain setbacks as well of some casualties on both ends which happened. So it must have been a very, how was the tenure of commanding in the valley, sir?
Well, it was, yes, the situation that time was quite bad. It was post the Kargil conflict, and during the Kargil conflict, a lot of units had moved out here and there, and therefore the counterinsurgency grid, which had been established, had got disturbed. And in that void, the incidents of violence and terrorist activity had picked up. And it is in that kind of a environment when the grid was re-established. So it did take some time and a lot of effort from everyone, not just my battalion, but from all the battalions to be able to re-establish our ascendancy and superiority in that overall area of operations. And that we were all very successful in doing. And when we say we all, means all the battalions. I remember we had 2 RR, 29 RR was our neighboring battalion in 10th sector. There was 35 RR to our south, part of Victor Force. And all of us used to work with very good coordination and cooperation to get the area back under control. And that is the time when I think we used to have a encounter or something almost once a week, if not more. So we were always on our toes, and used to even sleep with your weapon next to you. One phone call, and in 5 minutes you were out. So that was the intensity of operations at that point of time in 1999 to about 2000, 2003 when I was there. But that's what your job is. And I'm happy to say that I think we acquitted ourselves quite well.
Sir, so you have been honored with the Param Vishal Seva Medal, with the Ati Vishal Seva Medal, with the Sena Medal, with the Vishal Seva Medal. And could you, sir, and of course, I mean, you have got the title of the Honorary AG to the President of India as well. So could you tell us a bit about the individually the decoration that you got, sir? You had got the PBSM for which tenure, sir?
PVSM would be for my tenure as Army Commander, Eastern Command. Eastern Command is actually a very challenging command. It has borders with 5 different countries. So each command has its own characteristics and challenges. With the Eastern Command, of course, is because of this. That not only do we look after the Tibet region, but also Sikkim, not Sikkim, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Tibet. So it is a challenging assignment.
I was born in the Command Hospital in Calcutta, sir, in
Okay.
1979. Sir. And incidentally, you spoke about the Tibet border, sir. I began my schooling, my nursery was in Tanga Valley near Tawang, which became very
Okay,
famous.
yes.
People do not know where Tanga Valley is or Tawang or Khirmu is. So I would tell them I did my nursery from a place called Tanga Valley. So only after 9 December, 2 months back, about 2.5, 3 months back, it became, oh, now we know where you did your schooling from, where you started your schooling from. So,
Yes.
so,
I
so
remember
that,
when my children were small, uh, and the summer holidays were due. The time they used to talk amongst themselves, where are you going? Where are you going? And my kids used to always say, we are going to XYZ place. And their friends used to say, which are these places you go to? We never heard of them.
so
What is this Budwal? And what is this Sharifabad? And way out places. But that's army life.
true, sir, true. The exposure we get, sir, as even as Fauji brats, is something
Yeah.
is out of the world. You can't widely travel. The books we've read, the people we've interacted with. It's in
Yeah.
fact traveling is the best form of education. In fact, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
we get to see the whole country.
Absolutely, sir. Sir, and then your Ati Vishwa Seva medal, sir. Let's speak on that, sir.
Well, it is, these medals are not for any specific act or tenure. It is in recognition of dedicated service over a period of time.
Sir.
But of all these, once again, I would say that the Sena medal, which I got as command of the unit, that is the most cherished and dear to me.
Sir. Sir, you were also awarded, you were honored with the Honorary Chief of Army Staff of Nepal, which is a custom, in fact. In fact, sir, if you would remember, sir, I had sent you, I was on a panel that time. I was speaking
Yes,
on your, on television, I was speaking on your visit to
yes,
Nepal.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Sir. Thank you, sir. So tell us about the time when you were going to Nepal and how was your stay over there and how was it being conferred upon the Honorary Chief of Army Staff of Nepal, sir?
And this is a very unique arrangement which is there between Nepal and India, and such an arrangement does not exist, I think, anywhere else in the world between no other two countries, wherein we confer the honorary generalship on each other's army chiefs, and again only on the army chief. So it's a very unique arrangement, and of course, it is a unique honor to be conferred that position. Um, it has other positive benefits. Recently the Nepal army chief had invited all the ex-Indian army chiefs to Nepal as part of their army day celebrations, and four of our former chiefs had gone. I was also to go, but I had to drop out at the last minute uh, due to some personal reasons. But our four chiefs had gone, and they were very well received, very well looked after. And that just goes to show the strength of the relation that our two countries have, Nepal and India. And no matter what happens in the future, I think we will always be friends. There might be small temporary blips in our relationship, which happens every time. But long term, we will always be steadfast friends. And on that account, I have no doubts.
Sir. Absolutely, sir. Sir, you took over as the chief from General Bipin Rawat, sir. Sir, your memories with General Bipin Rawat, anything that you would like to share, sir, in particular?
Well, in fact, a book is going to be released very soon on General Rawat, which has been written by Rachna Bisht, and in which one chapter is based on my recollections of General Rawat. I would not like to steal the thunder from that book, but suffice to say that we had a very good relationship right from the time he was MGGS and thereafter MGGS Eastern Command, and thereafter Corps Commander 3 Corps, and I was the Inspector General Assam Rifles, IGR North in Kohima. So right from that time, we had a good relationship, and in those days when he was a Corps Commander and I was GOC, I don't think either of us thought we would become chief or that I would take over from him. So we used to be always having a very free flowing conversation, more as friends. And it is just incidental that he became chief and I took over from him. That's how life is, kismat.
Sir,
So I've
exactly, sir.
always had a very good relationship.
Sir. Incidentally, sir, I was ADC to GOC 3 core way back in 2005. And so after I finished my short service stint from the army, sir, General Bipin Rawat was the core commander at 3 core. So I had called on him and I called on Mr.
Okay.
Rawat. And that time, so I knew you were the IGR North in Kohima. And I had served with the Assam Rifles also, incidentally, sir, in Kohima.
Okay,
My,
good, good.
sir. So General Kumar was IGAR at that time, sir. I'm talking about 2007 at
Seven,
that time.
eight, yeah,
Sir.
correct. Yeah,
So
so
I
you have good experience of all over the place, yeah, all over the country.
Sir. In fact, sir, I speak fluent Nagami, sir, much better than I speak English or Hindi or Urdu for that
Oh, oh,
matter.
great. Yeah,
Very
that's
fluent,
yeah. When you're the company commander or platoon commander in any place, you do tend to pick up that language.
sir,
At senior levels, that doesn't really happen, but at
sir,
junior levels, definitely you pick up the local lingo.
sir, sir. Sir, there's so much to speak with you. I recall that you're busy. I don't want to take much of your time, but I don't want to miss out on this golden opportunity given to me to be interacting with you, sir. Sir, any message, any last message you would like to give to the youth of our country who aspire to join the army, who look at General Narwane as a role model, as an icon, and for several other of our officers, our men, in fact, they look up to them and they say that we want to serve the nation, we want to join the army were full of vigor and josh and with them, sir.
Uh, Before we talk about the army, I would rather say that, and this question is asked of me many times in other fora, that what is your message for the youth? So, my primary message is that do what you want to do, follow your dreams, your passion. Don't become a doctor because your father says become a doctor, or don't join the army for that reason. That's not the reason you should be joining any profession for that matter. Go where you want to go, and only then will you be happy. I know of certain family friends where this chap has done his MBBS, come and given the degree to his father and said, "Now are you happy?" And then gone and become an interior decorator. So, why did he waste his 5 years of his life? Why did he waste that one vacancy with somebody else who was more interested in becoming a doctor would have been able to avail? And there's so many other aspects to it. So, main thing is that follow your dream. And for the people who are joining the army, I think the message for them is that if you're joining the army thinking कि पढ़ाई नहीं करनी पड़ेगी, then that is a misnomer. जितनी पढ़ाई फौज में करनी पड़ती है और कहीं नहीं करनी पड़ती. So you be prepared for the long haul. If you're in the army, you have to be good in everything, in studies also, in outdoor activities also. You have to have your wits about you. You have to have a really all-round skill set if you have to survive in the armed forces. I think
That,
that's the message for them.
that's very true, sir. Very well said by you. In fact, a lot of people join the army to run away from studies. They find uh, they are running studying. I mean, they are studying
After
all the
studying
time,
all the
sir.
time, yeah,
In fact, sir, after I finished my short service tenure, I mean, I now I do some analysis on television on different matters, which I don't know much about. I'll be very, very honest. I'm feeling very embarrassed confessing this to our former chief. So I have to incidentally study, burn the midnight oil. So it looks very simple to a lot of people that you are sitting before television, you are just speaking. But then you
yeah,
have to have so many of facts, figures, events, everything
correct.
on your fingertips, backwards. So पढ़ाई there is no chutkara to पढ़ाई sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
it's not easy. You have to be, well read at all times, well informed.
absolutely, sir. Sir, thank you very much for your time, sir. It's been such an honor, such a pleasure, sir, and thank you very much, sir. Really, truly
Yeah,
it means.
thanks and pleasure, and hope to meet you in person someday.
Yes, sir. Sir, it was an honor meeting you when we met for the chief's dinner at Manekshaw.
Maneksha,
And
yeah, but
at the time, I convinced you, sir. Please,
well,
sir. Please give me some time.
Yeah.
And be very
Okay.
kind to consent.
Yes.
Sir.
Fine. We'll
Thank
catch
you
up
very much.
again. Yeah. Okay. See
Catch
you
you,
then.
sir.
Thanks.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
sir. Regards to Mrs. Naravane, sir. Jen, sir.
Thank you.